إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير الأعمال حي على خير الأعمال الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اجعل قلبي بارا وعملي سارا وعيشي قارا ورزقي دارا وولادي أبرارا واجعل عند قبر نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مستقرا إقرارا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم كما قال عز شأن كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزب عنه ناصر العباد في الخلوات سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين من ركب سفينتهم نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاتسام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وأروة وثقى وقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما الحياة الدنيا إلا لعب ولهو وللدار الآخرة خير للذين يتقون أفلا تعقلون صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I begin by advising myself and all of you to practice the taqwa and the piety of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as is the best of provisions. The verse that I recited is ayat number 32 from Surah An'am, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs our attention toward the concept of how this world is merely play and diversion, and of course the abode of the hereafter is better for those who are pious. Do not exercise your reason. This ayat and similar ayat with the message of giving insan instruction not to attach too much to this worldly life and be ready to detach themselves from this worldly life. Sometimes this concept leads to understanding as if we are to go ahead and condemn this worldly life, and everything else that we work for in this worldly life is something which is all part of this play and diversion. This does not mean that earthly life has nothing serious about it. If that was the case, then why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would create this entire universe and send insan and give him all of these troubles? So there has been, it has been brought into being merely a sport and pastime or play or diversion, as this ayat refers to. What this observation means is that compared with the true and the abiding life of the hereafter, the earthly life seems as if it is just a sport, a transient pastime with which you amuse yourself, time to time, and before you turning to the serious business, which is of course the eternal abode. Like many of us will be amused with this Super Bowl Sunday, and it'll just be a play and diversion and a game for us. For some, it'll just be a means of getting together. That is primarily is the maqsad. And of course, at the same time, those who don't even know alif ba of this football, they'll be watching it, and they'll be looking at it and they'll be getting together. But even if you were a die-hard fan of any of these sports, even then, or even those who are taking part, those who have high stakes in this game, even for them, this is just play and diversion. That's why you hear many of the athletes say this whenever a natural disaster comes about. They say, well, what we do is, not serious. What happens, that is serious. They even come out with their own sentiments regarding the real life. So with that said, we attach ourselves for time being, but we know that that is not the purpose and the maqsad of life. But it's not telling you that you can completely detach yourself from it. You can keep that to be the part of your life as long as you're not too attached to it. And to attach to it, I'll give you an example. If there was a tragedy, na'udhu-billah, God forbid, in your house, you would be the last person to be enjoying, festivities like Super Bowl or the festivities like other festivities. Even within our Islamic culture, if there are any festivities, we put them on hold when there's a personal or, there's some sort of musibah that has fallen. It's a practice which has no religious backing, but how many times you've seen people, if there's a death in their family, that when the Eid comes about, they don't really participate in the Eid festivities. Because this is their first Eid after the death of a family member, for example. Although Shariat is not stopping you from celebrating, but it's the natural phenomena that when a person is going through some sort of grievance, that for them to go ahead and start enjoying something. Similar is the case that when these attractions come about, how should we deal with them? So earthly life has been likened to a sport and pastime for another reason as well. Since ultimate reality is hidden in this world. That ultimate reality is not known to every folk. So therefore, since this ultimate reality is hidden in this world, these superficially minded ones who lack true perception encounter many things which cause them to fall prey and victim to these misconceptions. As a result of these misconceptions, such people indulge in a variety of actions which are so blatantly opposed to reality that their life seems to consist merely just sports and play and diversion and nothing more than that. One who amuses the position of a king in this world, for instance, is no different than a person who plays the part of a king in a stage or a theater. Someone who's in power as a king, as opposed to someone who's playing a role in a stage or a theater as a king. That person is posing as a king as opposed to the person who has that authority in his hands. So here, I wanted to bring it back to and tie it up with this ayat that I recited, with the events that happened in the history on this particular day. The majlis that we had last night, which of course 28th of Rajab, is the day, the departure of Syed al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein ibn Ali, alayhi as-salatu was-salam, from Medina to Makkah and eventually, of course, to Karbala. There are some questions in this regard. Did Imam Hussein rise for the world or for the religion? Was he rising for this worldly pastime and the diversion? And I'm sure the answer is very clear to all of you. But many have been manipulated and the meaning have been misconstrued for them. Some argue that Imam Ali, his father, divorced this world 3 times, metaphorically. He said, in Nahj Balagha, فَإِنِّي قَدْ طَلَّقْتُكَ ثَلَاثًا لَا رَجْعَةَ لِي فِيكَ. That indeed I have divorced you 3 times, and of course there's no ruju after the 3rd divorce. It's called ba'in, and there's no nikah after that. Prophet also said, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيَّةٍ. The love of the world is the head of all the khatiyah and the mistakes. So with these instructions and many such instructions that exist in the books of ahadith from Masumin alayhi salatu wasalam, why is it that Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is rising? Is it for the world or is it for the religion? Love of the world takes you toward evil. Refraining from the world takes you toward prosperity. How many times you've seen that? Allah promised to keep Imam Hussein pure, as the ayah says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. That tathir which Allah is promising includes who? In this ayat tathir, Syed al-Shuhada. So therefore, when Hussein is part of this tathir, that ayat of tathir is referring to, then how can you equate Imam's rise with anything except for the sake of religion? How can you equate and say that Imam Hussein's rise was for personal reasons, for example? So if Imam, but of course, this is difficult for them to fathom, because we mentioned this yesterday as well. I don't want to make it into a polemical issue and discussion on a khutbah of Jum'ah, that when you read the tafsir of ayat tathir, our brothers, they include the wives of the Prophet in the ayat tathir as well. When you look at the context in which this ayat tathir was revealed, is what hadith qissa is. We recite that all the time. There's no dispute in that. And then the event that took place when all of them were under the cloak, one of the wives of the Prophet approached Rasulullah and said, Salma, that can I enter this qissa? And we all know, Rasulullah responded by saying, Anti al khair, you are on the right path, but you do not belong under this cloak. This is reserved for those whom Allah has wished. So when Rasulullah did not allow his azwaj or his zawja to enter the qissa tathir, how can you go ahead and enter the wives into ayat tathir? When Rasulullah is not permitting them, how can you go ahead and enter them into ayat tathir? That was the argument that we presented yesterday. So if Imam Hussein had left for this world, so people like that will still need arguments and logical arguments. So if Imam Hussein had left for this world, as some might say, the question would have been risen, for whom does a man earn? Why do you struggle in the life? Who are you working for? Why are you putting these extra hours of work? What is the maqsad and the purpose behind it? Other than to provide for your family, to provide for your children, to provide for your spouse, to provide for your family members. That is the reason a person, goes out and earns. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is taking his family with him. He's not keeping them safe in the house to go ahead and earn the world and then bring it to them. He said, no, you come along with me. Who is he doing the ta'assi? Meaning, who is he following in this regard? Whose sirat is he following in this regard? None other than Rasulullah. Prophet too brought his family when he debated with the Christians of Najran and the event of Mubahala, Prophet didn't bring the entire army of Muslimin, which mashallah at that time were big. This event is happening after the conquest of Makkah. Nobody can dispute this fact. When this ayat was revealed in the 9th year after Hijrah, when Mubahala takes place, conquest of Makkah has taken place and Muslims are in majority in that peninsula. Rasulullah could have easily taken an army and taken over them. But even Asqaf-e-Azam of Christians know that if Rasul comes tomorrow with a large army, know that he's wrong in his claim to be a Nabi, but he comes with his family members, then he's speaking the truth. So the Isai and the Christian of that time understood the reason behind bringing the family is the haqqaniyat of Rasulullah's risalat. But today's Musliman does not understand why Imam Hussain went with his family. They still continue to question that. Those who go to war, another proof. Those who go to war for the sake of this world, as some might assume that Imam did, the commander of the army tells them things that will give them courage. They will get the wealth, they'll get the booty of the war, they'll come out with mali ghanimat. What is Imam promising? Nothing but martyrdom. You'll all be killed. You'll all attain martyrdom. If I'm taking a battalion with me, what am I going to promise them? Wealth, fortune, ghanimat. For that, people will come along with me. But if I tell them from the very get-go that you're going to be martyred, is Imam's purpose world or Imam's purpose is the hereafter? Why did Imam leave? And this is another question that is risen and sometimes ambiguous even amongst our own circles. Why did Imam leave Muhammad Hanafiya? His brother, Muhammad Hanafiya, son of Amirul Mu'mineen, why did Imam Hussain leave him behind? There are many theories behind it, but Imam indeed followed the sunnah of Rasulullah over here as well. The Rasulullah, whenever he went for any sort of battles, he would leave behind someone whom he could trust. Muhammad Hanafiya showed, his skills of, not that Muhammad Hanafiya was not able to fight. He showed his skills of fighting and war in the battles of Siffin and Jamal. There's numerous stories of his heroics and courage and the valor and bravery in Siffin and Jamal. To the fact that Amirul Mu'mineen kept sending Muhammad Hanafiya instead of sending Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. To the extent that people started questioning Muhammad Hanafiya, telling him that your father doesn't love you as much as he loves Hassan and Hussain. Try to create a dispute between the brothers. Now Muhammad Hanafiya is not ma'soom. He could easily falter, he could easily fall in this trap and turn around and say the same thing. But what does he say? He instead gives an example. He said, there's nothing wrong if my father loves Hassan and Hussain, and this is nothing to be debated for. But I'll prove you wrong. If your body, entire body of yours is being attacked, do you have preference on any of the organs of your body? He said, no, you want to protect every part of your body. He said, if someone shot an arrow toward your eyes, are you going to let the eyes see it, try to shield it? And if you don't have any shield, how are you going to protect it? Through your hands. He said, does that mean you love your eyes more than your hands? He said, no. Eyes I love, and similarly, hands I love. He said, that's the difference between us and Hassanain. Hassanain are the eyes of Ali, and we are the hands of Ali. Amirul Mu'mineen was protecting Hassanain. There's a maqsad and there's imamat behind it. So don't try to create a dispute amongst us. Imam Hussain leaves behind Muhammad Hanafiya, who has that basirat in order for someone to go ahead and carry out the duties once Imam is gone. So many told Imam Hussain to do the bay'at of Yazid. Not a single person told Yazid, let go of Hussain. What do you need his allegiance for? Everybody is giving mashwara to Imam Hussain. Oh Hussain, go ahead and pay allegiance. Oh Hussain, you can just say it with your tongue. You don't have to really believe in it. Who's saying? Who's going to see what's inside of you? You can do easily taqiyya at that time. Oh Hussain, if you go, you'll be martyred. If you stay, you'll be provided for. Some went to the extent by saying, oh Hussain, don't go. You'll cause fitna and fasad. Na'udhu billah. These were different mashwaras and consultancies that were, or the advices that were given to Imam Hussain. Nobody gave advice to Yazid saying, let go of Hussein. Why do you need his allegiance? You got the entire Arabian Peninsula paying allegiance to you forcefully. Why do you need this one man's allegiance? Only one person had stopped him. That was his father. But he's no longer around. Father had given the wasiyat to him that don't ask Hussein's allegiance. But because he didn't pay attention to the instructions, he still went after Imam Hussein's. But of course, he also knows that if I have the entire universe's allegiance, it is on one side and Hussein's allegiance on one other side. If I have Hussein with me, then I have everyone with me. That's what the later Khulafa or the rulers of Abbasids and Umayyads did. Mamun al-Rashid, Harun al-Rashid, by bringing imams closer by. What is the maqsad? To give legitimacy to their crime. So Imam Hussein, left and Imam performed what he had to do, and these are things that are proven in the books of history. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now when it comes to speaking about these, we are on the threshold and the cusp of the beginning of the month of Shaban al-Mu'azzam. It is upon us, inshallah. Sunday seems like the first day of the month of Shaban. A few words regarding that before I bring you towards the close. Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Shabanu shahri wa Ramadanu shahrullah. That Shaban is my month and Ramadan is the month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaban is a month of high excellence and is dedicated to the leader of the prophets. He used to keep fasts during the month and join them with the month of Ramadan. He used to say that Shaban is a month dedicated to me. Whoever keeps fast one day during the month will enter Jannat. He says, Rahimallahu man a'anani ala shahri. May Allah's mercy be upon the one who helps me, especially in this month. So we're getting closer and closer to being the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A time we must show utmost respect and devotion, and not because it's something sentimental. This is how awliya Allah used to do. You look at the ayat of Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to Hazrat Musa Kalimullah. فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ يَا مُوسَى إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ فَخْلَعْنَ عَلَيْكَ إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوَى. Then when Hazrat Musa ﷺ went and he was entering this valley called Tuwa, he receives this instruction that, oh Musa, you're entering a very sacred valley. Remove your shoes before you enter in it. This is the respect. And that's why you see the respect that we give to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by not bringing our shoes and dirty clothes or dirty things inside the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Surah Taha, ayat number 11 and 12 gives us direct instructions. Prophet said, whoever fasted during Shaban, paradise becomes mandatory. Of course, this is with the understanding that a person is also fulfilling all the other wajibat as far as the obligations are concerned. These are just extra mile for you, right? You're already doing what is being asked, but of course we know that our actions and amal are not going to be enough to provide for us, and therefore we need these supplements. What are these supplements? The month of Shaban becomes that supplement. You fulfill your duty, but we know what kind of salat we offer. You know that what kind of hajj we've done. You know what kind of ibadat that we've done. You know what kind of money that we have contributed. That may not be enough for us, so what do we need? We need supplement. You get that supplement in the month of Shaban, in the month of Rajab, and especially when you enter the month of Ramadan. Jabir said, Inna Rasulullah kana yusammi Shabana shahrar sabr. The Prophet used to call the month of Shaban to be the month of patience. He would display patience during the month by fasting. That's why the word sabr is equated with, fasting as well. Ayat of Quran says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Many Mufassirin translate sabr over here as fasting, because fasting brings that restraint in you, brings that sabr in you, that you're able to overlook many things otherwise would have agitated and would have taken you to have lost your cool, and therefore sabr is achieved through this fasting. So use this opportunity. He would connect the fasting of 2 months of Shaban and Ramadan by a gap of a day or two. Fourth Imam added that fasting 2 months consecutively, Shaban and Ramadan, is repentance from Allah and turning to Him. So of course, you have this opportunity to go ahead and fast in this month of Ramadan. Amir al-Mu'mineen, upon hearing this khutbah from Rasulullah, he said, after hearing that, I'd never miss the fast of the month of Shaban. So if we want to do the ta'assi and follow the sirat of Ahlul Bayt, alayhimu salatu wassalam, it's a great opportunity. It's relatively easy for us to fast. And while there are dual benefits of fasting, one, of course, some people may look at fasting as a means for them to lose a few pounds. But on the other hand, some may argue that we end up putting extra pounds when we go ahead and fast. But at the same time, that restraint that comes along with it, the sabr that you gain with it, the resilience that is developed in it, and on top of all of that, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that taqwa that comes about when a person fast, especially when it's not an obligation upon you. Everyone can fast when it's an obligation. It's not a matter of question. Everybody starts fasting when it's obligation, when it becomes obligatory during the month of Ramadan. The real skill is to be able to fast in these days, which are highly, highly recommended. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and ability to be able to benefit from the favors and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month of Rajab, which is concluding, and inshallah in the month of Shaban, which is approaching, and we are ready for the month of Ramadan. Inna asal hadith wa ablagh al-mawidha kitabullah, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته غضب وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وعفى السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد ولا ماس لعباد إلا كرما وجودا وعلى كثرة الذنوب إلا عفوا وصفحا نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لطوف للعباد بجوده والأفواد والمذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين بعثه رحمة للعالمين لقد أمركم الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا للصفي إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين وبذة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ما هي آثار البدع والطغيان هادم أبنية الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام اتصلت الليالي والأيام اللهم عجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا وكل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل على أمرائنا المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وعلو الدرجات اللهم افعل بنا ما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين اللهم اجعل من يذكروا وتنفع ذكر أن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله يا محسن قد أتى المسيء وأنت المحسن والمسيء فقد أمرت المحسن أن يتجاوز عن المسيء فتجاوز عن قبيح ما عندي بجميل ما عندك يا كريم يا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائمة قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد رب صل على محمد وآل محمد سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح جناب فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. All of us together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة لابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jummah Mubarak to you all. Let's recognize the sponsors for today's Jummah lunch. It's Mr. and Mrs. Umair Hamai and brother Nasim Hamid and family. Please recite Surah Fatiha for their marhumin, as well as marhum Anwar Ali Hamai. Surah Fatiha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A few announcements very quickly. Tonight we'll have the boys and girls Quran Academy as well as futsal. So program starts 6:30 for the girls, 7 o'clock for the boys, 7 to 8 they do Quran, and then 8 to 9 they play in Sadiq School Gym. Good opportunity, children ages 6 to 12. And then, of course, the older kids, they have their own program afterwards. So it happens every week, and we just remind you, so just take the advantage of this opportunity. So tomorrow, Sadiq School PTO will be hosting Ilyas and Duck show. That is tomorrow, February 10th, from 12:30 to 2:30. An email has been going out every week for this, and today also just went out. So good opportunity to register and bring in your young ones for this exciting theatrical story time. Also, tomorrow, right here, February 10th, there will be a Majlis-e-Aza taking place for Marhum Imtiaz Ahmed Sheikh. This will be his Chehlum Majlis, and it'll start at 5:45 with Namaz-e-Maghriban, followed by Majlis-e-Aza, which will be recited by Sheikh Bilal Hussain. The family is requesting your presence in this majlis, which will start inshallah tomorrow at 5:45 p.m. Marhum was the uncle of Sheikh Bilal Hussain. Other than that, there will be inshallah more announcements regarding upcoming programs as we enter into the month of Shaban. First, the wiladat of third Imam, wiladat of fourth Imam, and wiladat of Abbas. And of course, Jashan Shabaniya, which Nima Shaban, and all those announcements, inshallah, will make as we progress into the month of Shaban. Let's recite Dua Sehat for all of the people who are in need of dua, suffering, struggling, going through a difficult time, especially Brother Nisar Karmali, as well as Brother Irfan, who actually we surprised they saw him yesterday, Karima 5 times together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه يكشف السوء 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 أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. Before proceeding to Salatul Asr, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we have Salatul Fajr over here, starting at 6 a.m. After Fajr, we have Quran Circle on Saturday, and we have Nahjul Balagha commentary on Sunday. So take advantage of this as well. Come and start your day right, the weekend right, and pray with us, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah. أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. رب ادخلني مدخل صدق وأخرجني مخرج صدق واجعل لي من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر.
ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل